Hello? How's audio, guys? You guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear me? Perfect. How's audio? Is it all good? Crispy as fuck. Perfect. Perfect. That's what we need to hear. Alright, cool. We'll give it a few minutes, let people roll in, and then I'll pull Zach up. How's everyone doing? This is a bit of a different time than we usually do, but I think it's actually going to be better suited for a lot of you guys who are in UK, Europe, and US. I'm doing good, man. Watched the F1, watched Lando Norris take the world championship, which was good. What an absolute G Norris is. And then just been chilling. Balin, what's going on? eBenji, Kanye, what's going on? Welcome in. Joined from the plane. Where are you flying to? All right, guys, just give us a few minutes. Where's everyone listening in from? Atlanta. Where's the face cam, bro? It's 11 p.m. in Dubai. Looking rough. UK, Spain, Belgium, Zimbabwe. Holy shit. Zimbabwe. That's mad. Stayed up till 3 a.m. for this. Whereabouts are you? 3 a.m. Where's that? It must be Singapore or Indonesia, maybe? Yeah, Singapore. Where's the best place to live, do you think, Cam? I think it's subjective. I've lived in London, Marbella in Spain, and Dubai at this point, but I've also been to a lot of places: Bali, Australia, Singapore, and I think Dubai does tick a lot of boxes. It gets a lot of negative feedback, but there's more to Dubai than just living on the Palm or living in Dubai Marina. There's a different side to Dubai, which is really cool. Okay, guys, so probably give it like 1 more minute, 2 more minutes, just let final people roll in, and we'll be bringing up Zach on this call, who is I think maybe one of the first people to join EB actually. And yeah, Zach's doing some really, really good bits at the minute, just hit his 100k day. Ognile, Nikita, what's going on, bro? Ognile and I always in the DMs together. All right, cool, Zach. You can request and I'll bring you up, bro.
Hello?
Hey, man. We can hear you loud
How are
and
you
clear.
doing?
You hear me okay?
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you good.
Nice.
How's
Appreciate you
everyone's
jumping
today?
on.
All good, all good. Happy to do anything for you.
Thank you, bro. It's what, 8 a.m. New Zealand time?
Yeah, yeah, 8 a.m.
Nice, nice.
I
Cool,
was
cool,
up
cool.
at 2 watching the F1, so it's a bit rough.
You're up at. Are you a Max Verstappen fan? I take it.
Yeah, I was rooting for him the whole way. Like back when he was a few hundred points down, I was like, no shot he even gets close.
Yeah, bro. You know what? I actually do like Max, but it's kind of it's kind of nice seeing it change a bit this season. It makes it more interesting, I
Yeah, that's
think,
what
than
my partner
just
said.
yeah, than just seeing Verstappen win all the time. It's probably one of the best seasons actually since the one we had a few years ago where it went down to the wire with Max and Lewis. That was a fucking crazy race.
Yeah, I wasn't into F1 back then, but I it's literally all of my feed sometimes.
Yeah, F1 is it's so good. Have you been to a race yet in person?
No, I haven't, but I do want to. I do want to go next year.
Yeah, you need to go. It's so good. I did Silverstone in the UK and then I've done Barcelona as well. But it's mind blowing seeing it in person and actually seeing the speed that these guys travel at. It's completely different to watching it on the
Mm.
TV. But
Yeah,
no,
I think my dad's doing Singapore this year,
oh,
but
Singapore would be sick.
I
Night race.
yeah, I think I think everything's or at least the good seats are all sold out, which is kind of shit. But
Yeah, I want to do.
because I feel like not being in the grandstands would be a bit ass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually just before we jumped on this call, I had one of my mates round, and he's got a connection to Liam Lawson, so he was in the Paddock Club in one of the races this season, and he said it was insane. So that's like my goal next year to try and get into the Paddock Club for one of the races. Be insane.
They're what like 20K?
Yeah, but he got in for free because he knows the guy. But yeah, you can get in for 20K, which to be honest, I think
That's
if you're at a
decent.
good race, it's I don't know, it's maybe worth it. But yeah, I'm gonna try and do Monaco next year if uh, if I can try and get tickets.
I feel like Monaco would be ass.
Yeah, it's a bad track, but I think it's kind of like Abu Dhabi where it's the one where it's got all of the hype around. But we'll see. But
True.
nonetheless, I appreciate you jumping on, bro. And yeah, when
Of course.
I was just thinking, when was it that you jumped in here? Because I'm pretty sure you were one of the first members that joined. You remember when it was?
It was at like probably well more than a year ago.
Yeah, I think it must have been.
It might say on my profile
Yeah.
that June 29th, 2024.
Okay. Yeah. So you were in pretty fast. I think it started in April. But yeah, obviously this is our like we've spoken on DM, so I'm actually curious as well as I think a lot of other guys in here are as well. Like we'll get on to kind of how things are going right now, but what was your and I ask this to everyone because I'm genuinely curious in how people even get into this industry because we might think with I think we live in a bubble where it feels like everyone does ecom, but then actually to the outside world and when you're speaking to just regular people, they have no idea about it. So, how did you even come across it, and
Mm.
what was your initial introduction into it?
So it all started back with my sister. So my sister, she runs, I think, some sort of content agency. I don't exactly know what she does, but it was essentially monkey see, monkey do, right? Like she bought the Iman Gadzhi agency accelerator or whatever it is ages ago, like his very, very first shill.
Hmm.
So I watched that because I was like, hey, I want to get into this stuff. If she's doing it, if she's making money at 16, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so I then watched, that course, which then taught Facebook ads. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to run a Facebook ad agency and I'm going to run ads for clients and make a shit ton of money. Did that for way too long and it went nothing. But I knew how to run Facebook ads, right? So I then pretty much didn't do much. I just went to university. I did computer science. It was kind of ass.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was actually traveling through Europe, I think August 2023. And I was like, I was really tired of being broke, right? Like Europe just wasn't that fun because my mum was paying for everything. Um, and I don't know how, but I did stumble across e-commerce. And then on the trip, I watched who's that Jordan guy? Not Jordan Welch. Jordan.
Um.
He has a free course,
Oh,
and his whole thing.
Jordan Bown. Bown, is it? Jordan.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I watched his free course on dropshipping essentially, and I guess that got me started with the basics. Um, so I think I pretty much used the knowledge from that really free and basic course to, I guess, start my first store, which was the biggest scam ever, by the way. I'll send my product in the chat one second.
Oh, we're getting a product reveal here. Great.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
When was this, by the way? How long ago?
This would have, so I think I started that October 2023,
Oh, wow.
and then I ran that until December.
October to
So
December.
it was essentially this product. It's a New Zealand website, but it's essentially a kids like fort building product.
Oh, bro,
It
I
was straight
remember
up the
this.
biggest. It dropped in your Telegram, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, bro, I'm pretty sure I
Yeah,
remember us DMing each other on
yeah.
Telegram, and I think you messaged me saying, "Oh, I'm running this product," and I think you were doing a bit of revenue, right?
I think I was doing about 3K a day, but I was doing it only in the Danish market for some reason. I don't know why I picked doing it in Denmark, because everyone was preaching, oh, take a proven product and run it in the EU.
Yeah.
So I did that, right? But the product was an absolute scam, right? Because the product would come and it was almost like straws, like kids couldn't even fit inside of it. So that was really really bad. Um, and then I pretty much didn't do anything from December till about March when I found the product that I'm currently running.
Ju-
Um,
just on
and
that,
I
did you
I
did
wasn't. Pardon?
yeah, sorry. Did you during that period of running that initial store, did you manage to build up some cash flow, or did it end up coming crashing down with chargebacks?
It didn't thankfully come crashing down. I think I netted about 10,000 New Zealand dollars, which actually got me started to launch this next store. Because I used that money to then test a few other, the like pillow, the orthopedic pillow. Like I
Yeah.
tested that. There was the magnetic eyelashes. The products that everyone tests, right? Those didn't do too well, but I think it did give me some of the initial skills, which I guess helped me build this current one, and then a few others.
Nice.
So I found my current main one in I think March, and I wasn't actually even going to test it to begin with because I'd done a whole bunch of product research. I had a few different products in my list, and I went to my girlfriend, and I'm like, "Which one do I test? I'll do which one which you pick." And she picked the one that I was least going to do. Um, and then I much just ripped the competitors' ads and ran it.
Wow. And this is
Um,
this is still the product that you're running to this day.
yeah,
Wow, that's crazy. So basically your girlfriend should be taking a lot of credit for this.
definitely.
What made you, it's interesting that you said that it was the product that you were least likely going to test. Like what was the reason for that? Like obviously without giving
I,
away like specifics, but yeah, what was the reasoning behind that?
I think purely because I didn't understand it, right? So there's lots of products that I probably didn't test just because I didn't actually understand the pain point of the customer, right?
Mhm.
Um, like it's it's sort of hard to explain it, but it's a very niche product.
Mhm.
Like, do you know my brand, Cam? I know
I think so,
a
yeah.
few in here do. Yeah, so it's quite a niche product that I guess back then the typical dropshipper probably wouldn't test.
Yeah. I'd say so, but at the same time I would say it still has a decently sized TAM, right?
Oh, I agree. It's also revolving, which helps.
Yeah, 100%. So you found that in March. So I guess like what were the, if we come back to the initial product that you launched? Because even with it being your first product and getting to 3K days and actually taking profit out of that first test, that is still, I would consider, better than what most people would achieve in their first product test. So, what would you say were the initial learnings from that test, and what learnings were you able to then carry on into this next product that you ran?
Well, with that first one, I didn't test a single ad. By that I mean I just ran the initial ones and I didn't test any ads throughout the entire time. And I also feel like I didn't increase budgets and didn't do any learnings. So I didn't A, understand the customer, and B, I just straight up had no idea what I was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it made me take the second product a lot more seriously in terms of branding, who I'm actually selling to, and um, what's the word? Like understanding the desires, right?
Yeah, I get you. So when you went into this second product then, were you what was your approach when you actually started testing that product? Was it a similar approach where I think you already maybe mentioned that you just ripped competitors' ads and started running just to see what initial data came through, or did you go for more of a sniper approach where you were really doing a deep dive into the avatar and pain points?
I straight up ripped it, right? So there was one guy that was doing it. I'm pretty sure there was only one guy running it who's still running it now, but I don't think he's really doing it much anymore. So I ripped one of his ads and eventually found winner.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, I was like, shit, I've got to actually start testing ads and properly researching. Like, even probably for the first 5 to 6 months of running this product, I still had absolutely no idea how to research,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I was just making ads myself. I didn't really think I utilized AI too much back then because I don't think it was that great back then, but I think I still definitely did utilize it.
What
Um,
what did the
and I just used,
yeah, sorry.
pardon?
No, sorry, you finish.
I'm pretty sure I just used AI, just write me a good script and then gave that to an editor.
Yeah.
And then that essentially got me to like 3 to 5K days or something.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I was going to ask. So for that initial, because we'll kind of work our way through this, because I think what you've just achieved in such a short space of time and the revenue that you've just hit is massive, and a big congrats for that. But for
Thank you.
the initial month, I would say, of running this product, like I'm also interested to hear about the progression and what you were seeing. Like, were you profitable consistently? Was it up or down? Like, what were your key learnings? Because that seems to be the phase where I think most people struggle with, because it is consistent. For the most part, it is inconsistent, and people struggle on making decisions what levers they should pull next. So when you did rip that guy's ads and you started running them, was it just a case of, okay, like this is profitable off the rip, and it was just a case of increasing budget, or what? How did it play out?
Yeah, so it was instantly profitable. So back then, I still had the mindset of if it wasn't profitable in the first 3 days or whatever, kill it,
Mm-hmm.
right? The proper noob mindset. So back then, it was profitable pretty much immediately, and then I just started increasing budgets until that plateaued. And honestly, like the first 6 months of the brand was proper rough because I think once I started increasing budgets, I think it was around the time of some Chinese holiday, and a lot of my orders didn't go unfulfilled for like 5 or so days. I don't think it was in February. I think it was sometime in March or April. There's some Chinese national holiday, and that's when I was transitioning from like AliExpress into a proper agent, and then I'd essentially gotten a 20% hold. So that essentially for the next 6 months, sorry, 3 months, made it such a pain in the ass to scale. Like I was testing ads pretty much constantly, and it was sitting at about 20% margins back then. And I had the 20%, so I was just doing all of this work essentially for nothing. if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Was that on Shopify? Shopify
That
payments
was on
hold.
Shopify. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
And then back then, I also didn't have any credit, so I was using essentially my savings from all of the previous tests to actually run this. Like there was multiple weeks where I would have to pause my ads literally because I ran out of money.
So on that initial point, then you said you got to about 3 to 4K days. Are you still like what does the back end look like? You mentioned you were transitioning to an agent. Were you thinking, okay, fuck, this is profitable. We're doing 3 4K days. Let me start transitioning this into into a brand. Let me start sorting out the back ends and fulfillment and working with a 3PL. Like, did that come into to play at that point,
Yeah,
or was that later on?
yeah. So back then, it was work with the Chinese 3PL, try and I guess get some sort of a custom product. So I didn't actually customize my product probably until late 20 like late Q4 that year. So I did do custom packaging because of the nature of the product. You can change the package pretty easily. So I did have custom packaging, which I guess helped with branding, but it still did have the Chinese labels on it for quite a while. But I'm lucky now with my current setup is I pretty much have 3 or 4 business day lead time with the factory, and I don't have to place stock orders pretty much at all. It's more like a pre-stock. So
Nice.
I think I'm incredibly lucky with my setup now.
What did you say your lead time was? Sorry, right now.
It's about 3 to 5 business days.
Wow, that's insane. That's really
So
good.
I can pretty much scale up very very quickly. Like this is absolutely terrible of me, but I placed my stock order for Black Friday probably a week beforehand.
Oh my god. I mean, it's a hack though. It's actually a hack though when it comes to cash flow. Like you're in a really blessed position. I don't know anyone who's got a lead time that short. Like even me,
Yeah,
I'm minimum 30 days, around 30 days lead time, which yeah makes things a little bit more complex when managing inventory. So yeah, that's unreal.
mm,
So going from let's say three, you said like 4 or 5K days. What happened from that point then? What was the breakthrough to get to around consistent 10K days? Because I remember there was a point where you were kind of hovering around between 10 to 15K a day, I believe. So what happened from that
yeah.
period?
I think CRO was a really, really big thing for me. So I think I probably doubled or tripled my conversion rate over the course of like a few months, and that made the biggest difference. And then, of course, just actually learning and understanding my customer from a really, really deep point of view, so I could actually speak to them and make ads that would actually resonate with them. Like this is something that everyone says. You say, people on Twitter say, but it's literally what you need to do, right? So
Let's
I would,
let's break
yeah,
there are two really good points there. So let's dive into each one.
okay.
So because I'm interested around the CRO bit especially, what did that actually look like? Was it just a case of testing a bunch of shit, or was there more strategy behind it? Were you using heat map? What did your CRO approach look like?
I've never used a heat map before, as bad as that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was essentially just testing a lot of copy and then product images on the website. So that easily took, it from a 3 to now about a 10 to 12% on the front end. So it's testing different layouts of the product page, testing product images, the first image, testing offers and price points. I probably haven't been starting, sorry, I haven't been testing LPs until recently, really. But even probably sub 10, 15 to 20K a day, I was just sending all my traffic straight to a PDP. And yeah, like I think my ads did a lot of the selling. Like it wasn't really unaware traffic, it was more product aware and solution aware.
Yeah, yeah. That conversion rate though, 10 to 12% is insane. What would you say? Was there anything that you implemented where pretty much overnight you saw a huge jump? Was there
Yes,
anything that stood out?
so the way that I saw that the customers select my products. So I'll send it to you in the DMs, Cam.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at this competitor,
Yeah.
you can see how they choose their products. It just looks stupid.
Yeah.
So doing it from what they went, because I also did rip some of these guys' stuff as well. From what they did to what I did to make, I guess, it really, really easy to pick the products they want, essentially.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And I guess looking at your layout as well, I'd imagine that you would have a much higher AOV versus what they're running.
I would say so too.
Yeah.
I don't even think they have upsells in the cart. No, they don't. They go straight to checkout.
Yeah. No, it looks
which
good.
is super interesting.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, 10 to 12% conversion rate is insane. But I think you made a good point there that actually people think conversion rate is always on-site changes, but actually it starts right from the inflection point of your customer actually seeing the ad. And you mentioned there that the other point was actually learning more about your customer and going deep into research. Like I think people, for me anyway, I think people overcomplicate research, and really it's just a case of going where your avatar is and actually just putting in the hours and actually doing the research. What did you do anything stand out away from just the basics, or what did your research process look like? Did you have something a little bit more systemized, or was it just a case of putting in the hours and learning who they actually are and the pain points that they have?
Just learning who they were, like just sitting in front of my computer and just reading on Reddit, on Facebook groups, exactly what my customer wants. And then that, I guess, allowed me to speak to them through the ads. Because in my niche, a lot of the typical, I guess, health direct response type, that hasn't really hit with me. A lot of my ads that have hit have been really, really organic style. So it's like POV style ads, or ads that actually don't look like ads. I don't know if that's a skill issue or not, but that's what I've found has worked really well for me. So I guess that's creating content that your ICP actually wants to see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and how deep were you going? Like, especially with your ads, were you actually going deep into the different desires that they have and really breaking them down into different avatars, or were you keeping them a little bit more broad and just related to the main core problem that they have?
I've probably only done that in the past sort of 3 to 4 months as I've joined Evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So Evolve really helped me to, I guess, break down those desires and start thinking about exactly who I am targeting properly. So it allowed me to, I guess, the research and the resources there, which actually did help me. It essentially allowed me to find desires I hadn't found previously, just because I was looking at things slightly differently. But I actually can't tell you how I looked differently at things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking more about my avatar and thinking what they actually want, right? So I can only really target one type of person, but then there's sub avatars, I guess you could call them, um, within my
Yeah,
product.
I get you. And I also think as well, like we'll come back to this and we'll rewind in a second, but I also think that a lot of what you're talking about there about going deeper into desires and actually going into specific avatars, it also comes from just time of running your brand and just learning who your customers are over the course of running the brand for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, reading through your post-purchase customer surveys, reading through your customer support emails, actually tracking the complaints, etc., that are coming through your customer support emails. And you just really, if you're literally working on a brand day in and day out, 10, 11, 12 hours a day, you just naturally just start to learn your customer like the back of your hand. But I'm interested, back to the sort of point where you're at 15K days. What did the team structure look like at that point, and obviously you're profitable. So what are you thinking? Because at that point you have a decent sized business. There's probably more cash flow coming in. You've probably never had that sort of cash flow coming in before.
Yeah.
Like, where's your head at that point, and what sort of the game plan to get to that next level of scale from there? But I think also what did the team structure look like at that point as well? Like, who were the first hires that you made, and in what order did you start to hire them as well?
So my very, very first hire was an editor who still works for me today. Um, and it's just a Filipino VA, but who's actually really, really good at editing. And it was essentially me and her plus a few customer support VAs, probably until like 20 to 30K days sort of thing. Like I am seriously lacking in the team side of things. Like I've been talking to June and Nick
Yeah.
quite a bit, mainly June, about my team because it's proper lacking. Like I got like for example, only recently I've gotten all my team into Slack, so they're all communicating. Like before, I was talking to teammates on team members on Discord, WhatsApp, everywhere, right? So I think I'm still learning how to hire and how to actually um, remove myself from the business.
Yeah, yeah. I remember in the Diamond chat a few months ago, I think you said at the point you were doing 35K days or thereabouts. And I'm not sure whether this is still the case or not, but you had no creative strategist and you were just writing.
I still don't.
Oh,
I'm trying to find one now.
yeah, it's crazy. I think a lot of people jump the gun and they think to hit a decent level of revenue they need a creative strategist, but I mean it just goes to show you really don't. And I think it's actually, you know, looking back as well, I've probably not taken my time with making such a key hire, and I've made a lot of mistakes and brought in the wrong people and wasted a lot of time, money, and resources on them. But I
Yeah.
think actually delaying that hire in hindsight is actually a good thing, because you get to learn and build a creative process that works and clearly is validated at scale. So then you have that as a
I think
really
you also
solid
need to know
foundation.
how to write the ads. So if the
100%.
CS is doing a shit job, you can call them out on that sort of thing. Like if you can't understand that if the work they're doing is bad or why it isn't, I guess, producing results, then I guess that's part of the problem, I guess.
Yeah. What was the reason for not hiring? I saw someone ask in the chat, like, what was your actual reason for not hiring one? Was it just not a priority, or could you not find the right person?
It wasn't a priority at the time.
Nice, 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 nice.
Yeah, it's probably just a skill issue, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm. So what actually then got you up to the consistent 30K days from
I
when you?
think it's
Mhm.
pardon?
Yeah, from when you were at that
From when
15K day mark and the jump up to the 30, 40K days, sort of before Black Friday, before you hit the bigger scale.
Mhm.
Like, what was the main shift there? Like, what were you seeing working? You mentioned that you were still driving traffic mainly to the PDP. Did you start testing any other products? Did you start testing any other channels? Or what was working? What were you doing day to day? What were the inputs?
Gotcha. I think the number one thing was more better ads. So, like a single ad probably took me from 5 to 10K days. Another single ad took me from 10 to 20K days. It's just finding that next ad that unlocks that next bit of scale. So right now, I think I'm hovering at about 45K a day, and that's mainly through statics, essentially. And I'm spending a lot on native statics right now on Facebook. So those help me, I guess, to unlock that next bit of scale. Um, but it was also like cash flow. So I know a lot of people dog about this, like the Meta credit line.
Mm-hmm.
I started the Meta credit line, I think, exactly a year ago, right? So I didn't have credit back then. Cash flow was tough. It was really hard to increase ad budgets because I was constantly having to pay off my Amex. So getting that meta credit line, which a lot of people, dog on, big because you can't use your Amex points for flights or whatever. But I think that also really helped me. Like I think I have almost a $2 or $3 million credit line a month with Meta. So that essentially frees up a shitload of cash to, I guess, spend on ads or cost of goods or, I guess, other products. So I think it's like, come back to your question, right? Is what took me from that 10 to 40K a day is literally just more ads.
Yeah, yeah. It's usually always just you strip it down to the basics, and someone said that in the chat there, like literally just one creative, you pop one new winning ad, and it can completely change your performance. Like I'm mainly running a lot of cost cap right now, and we found another new winner that I put into a cost cap. And in that cost cap campaign, it is literally just a case of just keep on increasing the campaign budget. And because that ad is just it's going like super viral. Like there's fucking people arguing in the comments nonstop. It's a really good ad, and it just is the case that no matter what I increase that cost cap campaign to, it's just spending the full budget. Like yesterday, I think we spent about 12K on that cost cap campaign, and it was pretty much all coming from just one ad. And obviously, because it's in a cost cap, you've got a safety net there as well. So it's profitable spend, and it's just insane how you find one winning creative, and it can just completely change your revenue and also your profits as well. So I'm with you on that. I completely agree with that. So when it
Yeah,
on the mhm.
sorry, no, you go. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's on the same topic, but what does your actual creative process look like then? Because it's quite unique because you're at decent scale and obviously you don't have a creative strategist in place, so you are like fully in the trenches when it comes to the concepts, the ideation. So what is your approach? Like how are you managing it? Like what's your approach? Take me from like ideation all the way through to actually complete concept ready to launch within the ad account.
So essentially, what I do is near the start of the week, I'll do quite a bit of research. So I'll do research on people in my niche, not direct competitors, but people in my niche for things like ad formats, like the types of ads they're running. Because a lot of the time, you can get some really good ideas for videos from other people and other people's brands, right? So um, I look at the types of formats, what messaging they're running, and then a lot of the time I translate it into my brand. So I essentially use Gemini and Claude to rewrite those ads, I guess, properly with my matching desires, my matching avatars, proper copywriting, um, and just give that to my editor with rough notes. So that's probably a portion of it. The other portion is just getting ideas from places like Reddit, Facebook. So if people are starting to talk about a certain thing, or if they're like talking a certain way, or if I see ads on my feed. So like a lot of the time, I see different ad formats on my feed and translate that um, into like ads. So,
Yeah.
for example, I took one from your brand, Cam,
Hmm.
and so one that I took from your brand, like absolutely skyrocketed mine.
I'll
I'm not sure if you know this, but
I'll send you the
yeah.
invoice.
Here, I'll actually send you the ad if you want,
Yeah, go for it.
because you will probably recognize it. One second. Um,
What made you what made you pick out this ad?
because it was a format that I hadn't seen done,
Okay.
and it was also it was just different.
Yeah. I've got a feeling, let's see, I've got a feeling that I might know which one it is.
that was probably in your account um, early this year.
Wait, that's just I can't even remember which one we were running. Wow,
I
yeah, you
reckon I still I reckon I still have your ad
yeah, you can think
somewhere.
you can
I'll see if I can.
look at the yeah, I mean,
Uh,
wow, the engagement on your ad, it's that's yeah, that's a big winner.
and that ad alone took us from 5 to 10 to sort of 25 to 30K days.
That's interesting though, because you have essentially you've not in that case there, you've not taken an ad that you know is validated to work because you're not really replicating it based off engagement. You're just essentially
Correct.
making it because it's not something that you've ran within your ad account, and essentially it's a completely new, it's a net new concept essentially. What does when you are in your research phase then, when you're actually deciding on what ads to launch and what ads to build scripts out, is it literally just do you do a lot of gut feel, or is it mainly coming from engagement? Because I think we're quite similar, because there's a few people that I speak to in this Discord and a lot of them will only really build out new concepts based on what they see working on AdSpy, because it's the easiest way to validate something that's got spend and that's you can see that as working. But for me, I would say that a lot of our winners, and probably this one that you took from us as well, a lot of them actually come from our own ideation, whether it being seeing that whether it be turning like a viral Reddit post into an ad and we have zero reference whatsoever. Like we're literally creating something from scratch. Or like you could probably go and look through that same ad library, or I could send you a few examples where a lot of our concepts, and I've spoken about this on a call, a lot of our concepts will actually come from just seeing a hook that has went viral on
Yeah.
TikTok Shop that we can rip and then transition into an ad that is still relative to the hook, but we're going more into like, let's say like we're let's say the hook might be someone doing something, and then we'll then transition into our ad where we're almost like either debunking that common myth, or we're just breaking common beliefs within the category that we work in. So actually, it's not we're not actually ripping an ad from a competitor. We're actually the first ones to be bringing this concept to essentially to the market, and it works really well. So it seems like you do a little bit, a bit of things similar there, where you're not just ripping things off AdSpy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm ripping anything off AdSpy. Like I think I take the I guess the concept. So because especially recently, like you mentioned something you saw on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So recently I had an ad absolutely explode because I essentially took one of the top Reddit posts in my niche and then I rewrote that as a more of a native ad. So I literally used the headline and the body copy of that Reddit post and turned it into an ad. Right. So it's things like that as well.
How talk me through how you do that, because I've got my way of doing it, and actually the ad that I was mentioning that we have in a cost cap campaign, that was essentially what I did with that as well. I found I look for transformational long story based Reddit threads where there's just pure gold, like someone just talking about the subject matter in depth, and then I just almost cut the jargon out of it and then just run it through Claude with a few prompts and then do some manual adjustments. Like I'm probably going to do a video on it, but you're just doing something similar.
Really similar. So I the post that I took specifically was someone who was really frustrated, right? So it was someone who just had a really bad time with the problem that I solved, and it was a hook that would stop anyone. Like I'm not sure if James is here, but it stopped James. Like James got served my ad, and it stopped him, right? So that really did help in terms of, I guess, speaking my customer's language.
Yeah.
But I guess because it was already there, so I just took the post, put it through Gemini actually, because I ran this copy through Gemini and Claude, and Gemini gave the winning one, weirdly enough, um, and it absolutely ripped.
Did you make a script and launch it with the Gemini script and then do the same with a Claude script? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's this ad specifically. It's the primary text, so
Okay.
it's more of a native ad. So it's not actually an ad script. It's more of an advertorial style.
Okay. Got you. And then when it actually comes to the structure that you're launching these ads in, I know we've spoken a bit, and you've been doing quite a lot of testing. What's actually working for you right now? Then have you settled on something? Are you still testing a bunch of stuff? Like, what does the current setup look like in the ad account?
So I actually split videos and statics. So what I currently run is I just run an ABO testing campaign, and I just shove all of my video ads in that campaign. And if anything hits KPI after sort of 3 to 7 days, I move it in its own ad set into a location specific video campaign. So I have one for worldwide, UK, and I think one more. Worldwide, UK, and US. Sorry for the big one.
Hmm.
And in that ad set, I copy over the winning ad, and then I also send it to a few different landing pages. So
Nice.
I'll take the post ID, and then I'll also take that ad. I'll make the primary text more congruent. I'll then send it to a few different landing pages, and just lead it. And if it wins, great. If it doesn't, great, because I can do more loadings on it as well. Like I can understand why it worked in the main one, but maybe not a scale against some of my bigger ones.
Hmm.
And then for I have a separate image campaign that alone is spending 16K a day, I think, right now, 14K a day. And I essentially shove just all of my images right into it. So any native style, any like design image, I just shove it right in there. And if it gets spend, it gets spend.
So it's just a 14K a day CBO, and when it comes to the actual ad sets, are you isolating it by concept in each ad set?
Yeah.
Nice. You put minimums on, or just literally letting Facebook decide where to put the spend?
I just let Facebook decide. I used to do minimums, but I found it didn't really make much of a difference. Like if Facebook thinks it'll spend regardless of minimum.
Yeah.
But what I did find quite crazy is recently I've had a winning ad. I thought stuff it. I'll put it right in the main campaign, as I thought this was a really good ad. So I put it directly in the main CBO with minimum spends. It did shit. It didn't get any spend whatsoever. Probably like $10 spent. And I was like, all right. So I put it back in my ABO campaign, which I didn't put in there to begin with. It was a winner in the ABO campaign, and then turned into a winner in the main CBO campaign, which I found super interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, that is interesting. When it actually comes to the images, the statics that you're launching, how are you generating these statics? Are they like real raw images? Are you using Gemini? Like what's the process when it comes to your images? Because your 14K a day is certainly not low spend on images. Like they're clearly working really well for you.
So first, I write the primary text, or I use AI to write the primary text, and then I essentially put the primary text into another AI and be like, hey, what sort of image would work for this? And then it gives me a whole bunch of images, it gives me prompts, and then I chuck that through Nano Banana. So every single static that I'm running is AI essentially.
That's super interesting. So you literally start with the primary text and then go from there.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
For
sauce.
for these native style ads at least, not for the other one. Like a typical video ad, I'll do the video first.
What gave you the idea to do that? Did you hear it of someone, or did you just think it makes sense?
Um, I actually don't. I think I'd seen native ads pop up quite a bit on X.
Yeah.
Um, and then I did see Nikita's brand run a few in that style, so I was like, all right, I'll give it a go. Um, and then I guess, develop my own process.
How long is the copy that you're running in the primary text? Is it long form copy within a native ad, and then you're driving to PDP predominantly?
That's driving to an offer page, so it's
Okay, yeah,
more a page. I'll send you an example of
y-
what the page would look like.
yeah,
The page would look more like that. And
yeah.
yeah, it's a super, super long form primary text.
That's interesting. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
So what I'm also going to start testing is, I guess, a shorter primary text and then letting an advertorial do the work as well.
And then how
Because like
much?
there's so much to test there.
Yeah, and then when it comes to actually iterating on your ads and actually doing a deeper dive into the data, seeing what's working, seeing what's not working, what does that process look like? Have you got something dialed in yet, or what's your approach?
Right now, I think it's really, really basic. So a lot of the native type winners I've had, I've noticed that a common trend among ones that are winning are like comparison types. So, for example, like a split screen image of something on the left and something on the right. Those have always been what's worked for me. So for example, I take that. I took that knowledge from my initial ones and paired that with the Reddit thread that I was talking about before, and then made an absolute killer ad just before Black Friday. And that took over the entire spend in the account immediately first day.
Wow. I'm just looking at the chat. There's a good question here. Eamon said, do you keep your ads short with fast product intro or a little bit longer by story building before introducing the product? I know both works, but since I'm guessing your market is highly sophisticated, do you try to keep it short or long? Like, I
I
guess
think my
you probably.
market definitely is sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I do a mix of everything. So I do a mix of more unaware type ads and statics, probably paired with, I guess, some more bottom of funnel ads where the product's shown directly. I think you've got to do everything essentially.
I agree. I agree. And I think it's also heavily product dependent. Like I remember having a look at your ad library, and I think a lot of your ads are that they do kind of go straight into product intro, right? I would say the
Yeah,
majority
a
of
lot
them.
of them do,
Yeah.
or at
Whereas,
least the product will be revealed in the first 20 to 30 seconds.
yeah, yeah. Whereas like the ad library that you were looking at on one of my brands, we see for that one in particular that we don't get me wrong, we do have winners where we go straight into the product intro, but that's probably more middle of funnel, bottom of funnel audiences. But for
Yeah,
us to really scale at top of funnel, we need to go into that story building, which is why I think that these Reddit ads, these Reddit based ads work really well, where we're almost coming at it from the angle of a consultation, and then around the 50-second mark, 1 minute mark, we then go into the product intro. But I completely agree with what you said, where I don't think it's just a case of one or the other. You just need to be testing everything with your ad within your ad account and see what sticks. And then
yeah,
also
because
like,
there was.
sorry, I was just
Oh,
going to say there,
sorry.
even like obviously see what works well, but you've got to remember that your different avatars, your different types of audiences are going to react differently to different pieces of content. Like you'll have people within your audience who need that story building, who are a little bit more skeptical. They don't like just being sold to off the get go. They don't really like it to feel like an ad. And then you'll have other people where yeah, those POV ads are going to work well. You'll have other people where they typically purchase more from statics. So I think the more well-rounded and diverse your ad account is, with not just formats but also the different types of concepts that you're running within those formats, is only going to be net beneficial to try and unlock more scale.
I was actually exactly going to say that same thing. Like some people like reading blogs, some love documentaries, some like seeing pictures, some people only trust doctors, right? So different formats are going to resonate with different people, which is why I think it's really important to, I guess, do every type of format you possibly can, figure out one core message, and say it 1,000 different times.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Max is asking, where did you hire your first VA or editor from?
Online jobs.
Oh wow, you went online jobs route, and they're still with you today. You said.
Yeah,
Nice,
a
nice,
lot of
nice.
my core team is from online jobs. Like all of my, I think my first CS or customer support rep was from online jobs, and then she brought on some of her, I guess, past colleagues, and now she manages the team, for example, of VAs. And then my editor was also from online jobs. I have a second editor from Upwork. Yeah,
What's the plan to unlock that next level of scale? Like, where's your head at right now? What's the moves over the next couple of months? And I guess especially going into 2026. I mean, you're in an amazing position right now. So what's the game plan? Is it double down on this brand? Is it launch another brand? What's the plan?
I think it's a mix of two things. So currently, my LTV is quite low on the brand purely because of the nature of the product, right?
Hmm.
So it's either more products and more SKUs that I guess complement the products, or goes down the like mom cozy route of things where they started with the breast pump and now they have the bottles, the prams, the everything, right? And then I think it is a and another brand too, like one that's I guess supplement, the LTV.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's probably my thoughts going into 2026 because I don't want to be fully reliant on Meta too much. So it could also be going into actual native ads because I've somewhat done it well on Facebook ads. So it's yeah, that's probably my thoughts for now.
What other channels are you running besides Meta just now? And I know that you have an email agency, I believe. Are
Yeah,
you like what's the channels? You're running Meta, you're running email. What else is going on?
and Google.
And
That's it.
Google. And you have an agency for Google or a freelancer, or are you doing it yourself?
I have a freelancer who's really really good.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice.
I just found him on Upwork. I can send the details if anyone else wants, but he's actually really really cheap and he's scaled it pretty good. So
Nice. What sort of spends did you push through Google? Like, has he managed to actually scale it to a decent level, or is it still predominantly Meta for top of funnel traffic?
predominantly Meta, but it is also starting to come through with Google. Like I think Google is spending 2K a day essentially, and probably 25% of that is brand. Maybe no, probably not that much. But I think you need brand regardless, because even recently I have essentially a carbon copy of my brand, just different domain, and I think someone's running Google Ads to it, which is a pain in the ass.
What have you done? It's a good thing to touch on here then. So at the current scale that you're at right now, obviously, I guess the product itself is still. I think you've done a couple of customizations you've said to it, but
Yeah,
what's kind of the focus around building a moat and really becoming, I guess, like the leading brand? Maybe I guess you are already probably the leading brand within this space, but what
I
is
would
the
say so too.
yeah, what's like the plan to actually continue to build that moat? And I guess not just become, I guess, the leader of this particular product, but do you have plans on actually becoming more of a category leader? Because I think you're in a unique position where it's still quite niche, and as you mentioned at the start of the call, it's kind of something that a lot of people I think would overlook. So is there bigger plans to add more SKUs and really build this out, potentially go into retail? Like how big are you thinking with this one?
I haven't even thought about retail yet. I mean, maybe. So I would say to really build that moat, I think I need a proper um, much better custom product, I think. So fully customizing the product in terms of, I guess, all aspects for it. Because even now, there is still some issues with the product. I guess just because of the nature of it, customers aren't always happy. So I think it's really trying to improve it so that it does, I guess, fit more with what I hope to claim, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah,
So, what would be the
I think,
plan? What do you think the plan now would be is if you were to launch another store, like let's say you were to get another brand launched in the next year, let's say you wanted to go into supplements, for example, and get some MRR. Knowing what you know now, like would you do anything differently when it comes to product selection? Because I think you were lucky you had a girlfriend who had really good intuition on which product to test. So I don't think you can take much credit for that. But yeah, what would your approach be now then for this next brand that you potentially look to launch? How would you look at things?
I think I would do research a lot sooner on the product. So I think I'd probably still rip initially for the first few days, like, Kayla rip, for example. It's probably not the best, but yeah, I'd probably rip for the first few days, see what the sort of soft metrics are, roughly understand the desires that I'm targeting, and then probably make my own custom ads using a lot of the templates that I've used for my current brand.
Mm-hmm.
So things that have worked for me, like formats, messaging types, ways to research, offers that I've tested even, and using that knowledge to apply it to another brand. So I might do an offer a certain way. I might do an ad a certain way that I guess could be different to um, what others are doing.
Yeah.
And I think Evolve has also taught me, I guess, to use that unique mechanism. So bringing something different to innovate either on, I guess, the avatar or the mechanism to actually stand out against all the other randos.
Yeah, absolutely. Super key to do. And I think actually I see another question in the chat right now, and it's touching more on what we briefly touched on earlier on in the call. And it's do you segment creatives by emotions and how people respond to specific emotions or not really? For example, if you discover that Avatar A converts really well to fear based messaging, like preventing a high risk slash fear problem, do you then take that insight and apply it when making briefs for Avatar B to also be more fear based? Because you
I
mentioned
don't think
that you
I've
were,
gone that deep.
yeah, that sounds super deep.
Yeah,
How are you looking
that might
at?
be overthinking it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you briefly mentioned like you've only just recently started to look deeper into the desires. Like, how have you actually done that? I mean, it's pretty easy to do the research. You can literally go through Reddit, compile a bunch of data from customers, review, post-purchase survey, etc., and start to segment them out by desires. But then, how are you actually deciding on which desires to tap more into and essentially spot those ones that have high potential? Is it looking at what's working in the ad account as well, or what's your approach?
It's definitely what's working in the ad account. So I think probably only up until recently, I guess my lens shifted, if that makes sense. So I'm looking at my customer data differently than I was through, I guess, a more informed lens. So, for example, even like way back earlier in the year, I was looking through some of the same stuff and I didn't pick up a lot of what I was picking up now. So a lot of the questions, a lot of the things that customers are saying weren't registering to me as desires back then as they are now, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. How are you actually
So
identifying what the desires are, though? Like, what's your approach to it? Like, are you compiling a bunch of like winning ads and transcripts and running them through Gemini and getting Gemini to pick out the core desires for you, or is it just intuition?
it was so one, there was a few with Gemini, but also just reading through what people are asking about on Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
because often what someone's desire is what they're asking. So it's
Yeah.
like, how do I regrow my hair after pregnancy? Well, that's someone's desire. We can infer that they want to regrow their hair after pregnancy, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if that makes much sense at all, but
No, it does. It's exactly. The thing is, I think people like to overcomplicate things, right? I think it is literally just a case of how simple with what you said. Like it's just a case of reading the desires, understanding the desires, and then translating that into your ads. Um, Question here: do you hold any inventory in a US 3PL? Or you sell all
no, I
China
don't.
based?
Yeah, all China based.
Nice. No.
Because I haven't really had an issue with China shipping. Like if I go into my parcel panel, it's majority 5 to 7 days.
Yeah, yeah. No reason to change then. What is how have you managed to get such short lead times, 2 to 3 days?
I think it's what my agent has helped me to do with the factory. So the way that we do it is we pre-stock the materials. So, for example, I might say to my supplier, "Hey, I want to do 900 orders a day." What he'll do is he'll keep stock on hand for 900 orders a day for say 7 days, and then my factory, I think I'm their biggest client or their main client, so they also prioritize me. So any I think orders that my supplier places with them, they also come to us first. Um, yeah,
What was
I think that's probably it. So I think it's just um, us being the main client, and then because they already have a lot of the materials and designs on hand at the factory, they can send it to us pretty quickly.
what changes have you actually done to the product? Is it just a case of custom branding, or have you actually changed anything like more, I guess, functional about the product?
Yeah, so a little bit functional in terms of its actual, like, well, I can't really say it without giving away the product,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
But you've made changes to it.
yeah, yeah, I have made changes to it, and then also the product itself is branded, and then I've also what also happened is a lot of my comments, they were asking for a different version of the same product. So it's also listening to what people were saying and serving a slightly different custom base with that slightly different product, which is essentially the same product.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for me to say this without saying the product.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It probably makes no sense.
And then in regards to like things like after sale, like what are you doing on your post purchase?
I think it's mainly right now it's offering the complementary products. So I have a few other products that help and aid with the main one, and then it's just selling those. Like I haven't gone too deep into post purchase, which is not which pricing I need to look more into.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how's email for you? Is that an actual channel that drives significant revenue? Like, do you have some sort of returning customer base, or is it mainly just a one-time purchase
Re-
product?
Returning customer base is about 10%, and that's like I think after sell does makes it a second order, but my one doesn't. So that is actually 8% of 8 to 10% of customers coming back, and that is I think probably through emails. Like I do have quite a few different email flows set up for different products and different um, things like that. I think email does about 20 to 25% of revenue.
Nice, nice. So how have like I guess like how have things like where's your head at? Like how have things changed for you? Like I guess on a personal level as well, because you've obviously made huge strides within this last 12 months. I'm pretty sure you've exceeded the expectations that you set coming into the year. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like I guess like what does life look like now? I know you're in New Zealand. Are you planning to stay there? Are you planning to do a bit of traveling? Like what's the plan for you on a personal level, and like what you're doing with your cash? Is it just a case of reinvesting back into the business? Are you reinvesting elsewhere?
I mean, I honestly don't do a whole lot with myself, right? Like I probably just sit at home, work, go to the gym, go on dates with my girlfriend, just like the simple stuff, right? Like I don't really, I haven't bought the G wagon, the Porsche. It's not something I'm quite at yet. Um, and like life hasn't really changed, if that makes sense. Like from January to now, it's the exact same. It's more just I walk into the grocery store, I don't really give a shit what I spend. I just buy good food. So it's more that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Probably in terms of travel, probably Dubai next year in March.
Nice,
Like
nice.
like even this year, I took my girlfriend to Europe. So it's those small things, or I guess not small, but
I hope those Amex points got put to good use.
definitely.
You must have stacked
I
up a
th-
fair
I
few.
I think I had about 3 million, which
Damn.
isn't much, but it's good for New Zealand Amex because New Zealand Amex is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same as the UK one. You need to get tapped into the US system. I got my Amexes now for my US companies. It's 1 to 4, so it's a huge difference. But no,
I think it's 1 to 2 here.
yeah. It's cool though how things haven't changed. I think for me, when I first started making money, I probably changed things a little bit too quickly in hindsight. But I think just living like a chilled out life like you are right now and just stacking cash honestly is the best way to do it. Because I think you sound similar to me in the fact that the thing that I value most is just having that freedom, even just for the basic stuff like buying what food you want, just living life in your own schedule. It's the biggest reward. But what does the typical day to day look like now for you then, managing the ecom brand? Like, are you pretty regiment in your structure, or is it more relaxed?
I would say it's a bit of both. So my partner works as a nurse. So she has different types of shifts, AMs, PMs, shift work, right? It's something that she does also really enjoy. So she has no, I guess, desire in leaving that yet. Um, it's more just working around that. So for example, if she's got a PM, I'll go to the gym with her in the morning. Breakfast, maybe shopping, like I don't know, like supermarket or that sort of stuff. Like I'll normally work when she's not working. So like a typical day is like I get up, do a bit of work. She's probably still sleeping, and then have breakfast with her, and then I just work, lunch, work, and then normally after lunch I'll go gym also, do a bit of cardio, weights. Yeah, it's honestly it's very simple. Like it's nothing fancy or flashy, you know.
Yeah, same as me, man. Literally gym, work, go walks, date nights. Keep it simple. Just focus on the inputs.
Honestly, yeah. Like if the way I think about it, like my work day, is that if I've created something, I've had a good day. So if I create an ad script, if I create an image, just if I create something, I've done something today, if you know what I mean.
What's New Zealand like, out of interest? Like, you enjoy it there?
It's like in terms of like weather, people like just everything.
Yeah, just in general.
It's it's pretty cold most of the year. Like during summer, which is now, it is actually quite nice. Um, it's also very quiet in terms of there's not heaps of people. Like in the entire of New Zealand, there's I think 5 million people, whereas one city in the US will have 5 million people, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it is very quiet and it is quite I guess clean. So like when I went to Spain, for example, Spain is disgusting. At least when I went, or like even Paris, or like some of those European cities, like there's trash literally everywhere. Um, and even like this might sound terrible, but there hasn't been a huge amount of immigration here, so it's still a lot of like Polynesian, Maori, white people as opposed to you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have a friend who used to live in Dubai, he's from New Zealand originally, and he just moved back. He absolutely loves it. He's actually
Mm.
yeah, I don't know if you live close to him, but he's like one of the biggest YouTubers in the AI space, and yeah, he's
Liam Otley.
yeah yeah yeah
Yeah.
um yeah from New Zealand. He says he fucking loves it there. He's got no intention of ever leaving again.
Well, like, yes, the taxes are pretty high, right? Like, I'm paying 39% right now. Um, it is quite high, which is really gay. But honestly, it's actually quite safe. Yeah, you know,
Is
um,
that 39% like personal tax, or is that?
personal tax. Yeah,
And then what about for
20,
your New Zealand company? What is there corporation tax there?
28%.
Okay, wow, that's high. That's higher than the
It's
UK.
it, it,
28,
it is it is really high.
bro.
Yeah,
28% is fucked.
yeah. And
Holy
then
shit.
the liberals want to come in and increase it even more. So
Yeah, that's crazy, man. All right, let's see, because I'm know that it's early for you, and it's a Monday for you now, right? So you've got
yeah.
your work day ahead. So yeah, guys, if you have any questions before we wrap things up, then just feel free to drop them in the chat, and we'll wrap up on a few final questions. Let me see if we've missed any. Someone said, how much revenue has the store done now in the last 12 months? I guess it's not even been 12 months since you've been running it, right? You said March you
I
started
think
this
I
one.
think I've been running it about 18 months.
Oh, right. So oh yeah,
Last
it was March last year.
yeah,
Yeah, of course.
last 12 months is 8.3 million
Crazy, bro. Right, Q for Zach.
USD.
How much AI are you using in the creative creation process? Not talking about scripts and copy like for video ads. So I assume he's talking about things like HeyGen, ArcAds, etc.
I've only been using AI stuff like that quite recently. Like probably within the past sort of 2 months, I've been starting using more HeyGen stuff. Um, I don't use too much AI B-roll, but it is something I have been experimenting with probably over the past week, like using Nano Banana and then Kling to, I guess, animate those images.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I have a one HeyGen ad now that is taking the major spend in the video campaign. So that sort of stuff does work. And I did also have another ArcAds ad that was a winner around August as well. So those do work. You just got to make sure it doesn't look like AI, essentially.
Yeah, 100%. Few ones here. So CK said so. Ultimately, the advice to go from 3 to 4K to 10K days is more better ads. Yeah, I mean that's not a big
Yeah,
jump in the like. It sounds like a big jump because essentially you're increasing your revenue by about 60%, but you could pop a winner in your ad account, and as long as you have the inventory or the cash flow to scale, then you can hit a 10K day the next day. It's not
like
hard.
like recently in November, um, I hit a winner that took that pretty much doubled the ROAS, right? So I went from sort of 25 to 27K up to 40K days in a matter of a week, right? So it it's just a few budget bumps away from um, I guess scaling.
Yeah. What's someone said like what's your estimated ROAS, but more so I guess like what is your like roughly what's your break even ROAS on the store that you're running right now? And like what sort of ROAS are you typically hitting at scale in the ad account?
I think my break even's about 1.6 to 1.7, so it is actually quite high. But that's because of Q4 now, so I think it does sit around the 1.6
Nice.
ish, and I normally sit at about a 2.3 to 2.7 sort of like today I'm at a 2.5.
Is that blended?
Um,
Like a blended ROAS across all
blended, yes,
channels?
blended.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, blended. So if I look at the last 365, my average ROAS over 8 million, 8 point, actually, sorry, it's 8.7 million. That's in Triple Whale. It's 2.3 ROAS.
Nice. That's good, good, good. Um, Gabriel has asked, what was the margin on your product when you first started testing?
I think it might have been roughly, so I had tested a different version of my product initially. So I tested a cheaper, shittier version of my product and then moved to a better one pretty quickly. So like right now, my daily margins are probably about 20 to like probably between 15 to 20%. So yes, 1.7 is quite high. It does make things a little bit more difficult, but I mean, I've managed, right? So
Yeah, and I also think as well, like a high break even ROAS, it's got a, I mean, it's not super high. Like I've definitely had products around that range before, but also you probably could get, as you've mentioned there, you could probably get your break even ROAS down, but then you're sacrificing product quality, which then in turn is going to increase chargebacks. That 10% returning customer rate that you do have might be a 2% returning customer rate. So actually, yeah, it's not too bad. Just reading through the comments here.
I could go to my supplier now and probably decrease my product costs by 20%, but it will be a much shittier product.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's
I like the returns would far outweigh the benefit of that.
yeah, absolutely. I've actually increased my COGS for one of my brands over the last few months, where we've went from like an average unit price of around $1 up to around $1.9 per unit, which is a massive fucking increase. Like it's almost double. But I'm just taking a massive bet that it's going to massively increase retention. And that, by the way, is going from China manufacturing to US manufacturing. Let's see. We have
Would the shipping cost balance that out?
yes, massively,
Like
massively.
Is domestic shipping right?
Yeah, well, it's mainly because the freight costs right now, to especially when you're sending on air shipments, which have been around Q4, because we have been like scaling a bit too hard, etc. So we've had to do some plane shipments, and it's just really, really expensive. So it will offset it because now we can just go from US warehouse into our US 3PL without having to bulk ship from China to the US. And obviously it also helps with our lead times as well. So it should help a ton. Chuck was asking, do you suggest to run all ads to the PDP until 10k days or more? At what point would you start testing LPs? I mean, you can let me know your thoughts on that, Zach, but I'm pretty sure you mentioned there that you didn't test any other landing pages until you were at a higher rev, right?
Yeah, which is probably a mistake, honestly.
Yeah. I think
I think you should. I think you can be testing it as soon as you have conviction, I guess, because a landing page is only going to be a net positive.
yeah.
The only reason why I didn't test earlier, like yes, I tested the typical listicles and all that earlier, but I think it was a skill issue because my copywriting wasn't good enough for it to actually work.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I do agree, but I think what you said there is like you said test them once you start to have conviction. Like I would add on to that and say like test them when you have conviction, but also you have a level of validation as well. Because I think if you're trying to offer test, landing page test, you still don't really know what messaging or avatar is working as well, then I think it's too much at one go. Whereas I think if you can get things profitable to the PDP, even if it's at super low scale, you have an offer that's converting, you roughly are seeing, okay, like this type of format or this type of messaging is working in the ad account, then I think, yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't test this landing pages sooner. We have what budget bumps were you doing when you hit that new winning ad? Like how are you scaling it up?
The recent one,
Yeah, the recent one.
I so that campaign I think was already spending quite a bit. So if I was doing 20% bumps, those 20% bumps would have been multiple thousand a day. So I think I just bumped a few thousand each day until it was um, until I guess it hit diminishing returns. So
Hmm.
I think I would probably scale 10 to 15% a day. I don't know, like my balls aren't that big, right? So
It's funny because you still get on calls with meta reps and they still tell you to not increase the budget by like more than 20% every few days. I'm not sure whether your rep says the same, but I'm still getting that advice from reps. It's like if they had a look into some of these discords, they'd be fucking shocked.
but I think the one exception was Black Friday. I surf scaled that really hard.
Yeah, yeah, you have to on that day. You've got to make the most of it.
Mm.
Uh, have you tested increasing your price?
I have actually. So as soon as I increase any sort of price, as well as adding value, so I've tested this a lot to try and decrease my break even. So like even by $1, right, while adding in, other free gifts or other, I guess, value props, the profit per visitor is still lower than what I currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm.
I'm not sure if that's a test even more offers or completely different offers, or but the one that I have now has been working for a while.
How many different offers have you tested? Would you say?
I wouldn't have a number, but a lot, like a lot. Like especially at about 10 to 20K a day, I was testing an offer a week at least, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at your offer now. It's yeah. What's the is the middle one the most common?
Let me pull up caching for you. I'm pretty sure it's 70%, 5% middle one.
Yeah, I thought so.
Uh,
Let me see. Do you actually think USA manufacturing is that much better than China? No, I don't. Not when it comes to product quality. I honestly think now that you're getting pretty much the same product, whether it's manufactured in China or manufactured in the US, because a lot of these factories, and I mean, they're all using pretty much the same raw materials. They're all imported goods. A lot of these raw materials aren't actually available in the US. They're buying them in and importing them in. It's the same as these factories in China. They're probably buying from very, very similar, if not the same sources. So for me, it's just a case of actually cutting cost on the freight cost from China into the US, but then also um, I want to go into retail as well next year, so it's much stronger if it's made in the US. Um, VJ Zach is still doing all China shipping. How are you spot testing offers? I believe you're spot testing them through Kaching. Is that right, Zach?
um, yes, the simple ones, but a lot of the time it's redirect because the little widget below the offer is custom code.
Okay, yeah, I see. Um, just like really quickly summarize because I see a few questions here, Zach, around like your Facebook structure. Like you don't have to go as in depth as you did there, but just roughly like what campaigns are you running, just so people can grasp that.
So I'm still running a BFCM campaign actually. So I'm running a BFCM one. I'm running a whitelist campaign, which is just like a third party profile that I have. Um, I'm running a worldwide video and static campaign, a top four static campaign, UK, US video campaigns, and then I create a test ABO. And then I do have a SIBS campaign, but I haven't been increasing the campaign limit on that.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. Um, Balin, no, it's all AI that Zach. It's pretty much all AI that you're using for statics, right? All through Gemini.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, really no need to hire agency anymore. How much are you inputting a day creative wise? I'm pretty sure he basically just means like how many new ads are you making per day. Yeah, I don't think that's one thing we've touched on actually. What does the volume look like right now?
So I give my editor 10 batches a week. So that's 10 concepts, I guess, and each concept would be sort of 2 to 4 hooks. So I just aim for 10 solid video ad batches a week because I feel like if I do more, it's just going to be junk volume. So and I've done that all through my scale. So from back when I was at 5K a day, even to now, I'm still doing 10 video ad batches a week. And then in terms of statics, I'll just I probably do maybe 1 or 2 ad sets a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you say out of those 10
I like
batches? How many would you say are winners? Like, what would you say the win rate usually is?
I think it's normally at least one.
And then for that one, like,
It's
yeah, I was just gonna say, what sort of spend are you looking at before you decide whether it's a winner, essentially?
I'll look at it like as so if it's a super winner, it'll allow me to scale the campaign like really fast. So that recent Reddit one that I was talking about before, that would be a super winner because it allowed me to scale my campaigns. If it's just like a regular one, I guess if it takes over majority spend at a decent ROAS, or at least complements some of the recent ads. So, for example, an ad yesterday, I put a few different ads in, I think, start of the week, and one of them's already taken majority of the spend. So I call that probably a winner. It hasn't scaled the campaign, so I wouldn't call it a super winner, but it's helped me, I guess, maintain my scale.
Yeah, yeah, I get you absolutely. A lot of people are asking about your static process. We've got Typo here who said, do you edit the AI statics or just post them exactly how AI made them? And then we have another person asking how the creation process of the statics is looking. Like, I know you touched on the leading with the primary text and then asking Gemini what type of images would work well with this. But I guess with what Typo said there, are you literally just taking it as they are? Or are you actually doing any manual edits on them? Or is it just a case of just reprompting in Nano Banana to get the final
A lot of the
output?
time it's reprompting, but I just remove the little watermark in the bottom right corner.
Mm-hmm.
I just pull up GIMP and I just remove the watermark, and that's pretty much it. Like sometimes if there's like dates or text or anything like that, I'll just edit that really quickly. Yeah,
Yeah, I've not heard of GIMP.
I do use Fal AI Nikita, but I don't go to that a lot. Like I used Fal for Seedream, so I use Seedream and Kling to get some B-roll. But I know Fal does get rid of the watermark, I think.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna. You've got me inspired to do that primary text sauce. That's not something that I've done, so I'm gonna definitely
I
get.
can send you the example if you want.
Yeah, bro, that would be appreciated. I'm gonna run some of those up these week. I'll let you know how they go.
Yeah, I just sent you the Reddit post that I used for my main super winner.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You're a legend. All right, bro. I'm gonna let you go off and crack on with your Monday because you've been really generous with your time. And yeah, bro, big fucking congrats. Appreciate you being in the server for, I mean, pretty much from the start at this point. And yeah, just really appreciate you coming on and sharing as much as you have, answering the questions. And yeah, just wish you all the best. And yeah, proud of you, man. Really am.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, it's my first time doing this sort of thing, so I don't know if I sound like a retard or whatever, but
No, you did amazing. You did amazing. And yeah, to everyone asking, like I've recorded it as well, so I'll drop this in the server because yeah, you've shared a lot of gems and I've took a lot away myself as well. So appreciate it, Zach. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah, I'm sure we'll speak in the DMs.
All good. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. All right, guys. Hope you boys enjoyed that call. Zach is a fucking legend, and I think he really is testament to what can be achieved in such a short space of time if you just lock in. I mean, you can pretty much tell from the way that he was talking about his day to day, like he's just a locked in guy. Like he's just locked in, and I'm telling you, he's pretty much been in every single EB call since I started this server. I've always seen the beans in the audience, and I don't know what the beans are about, but I fuck with them. But yeah, you're a great guy, Zach, and yeah, for you guys who were listening, I mean, this is a guy who's pretty much went from knowing nothing in 2023 to now doing over 100k a day over the Black Friday weekend, and now still doing great revenue with great profits. I used to be called Beanface as my forehead is big. Yeah, but no, that was a great call, guys. I have recorded this as well, so I'll share that with you guys. And it's also nearly 1 a.m. in Dubai right now, so I'm not going to hang about. I'm going to get off, go to bed so I can start my week strong. And I wish you guys a great rest of your day. And let's fucking crush it this next week. And I'll speak to you all in the main chat. See you.